Hey all at YouTube, this is Silver Lightsaber, and I've had kind of a renewed interest in X-Men lately, and I figured I'd give my thoughts on the upcoming X-Men First Class movie. So, to be honest, I really don't know what to think yet. I've been keeping up with the news, and Fox is just so unpredictable with what they're going to dish out, when Bryan Singer was rumored to come on board to the film, I was very excited, very hopeful. But when he left, I was really disappointed, and I was worried that this was just going to turn into another X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was fun in its own way. But to be honest, it was a letdown. It was better than X-Men 3, but that's not saying all that much. And it wasn't. It didn't feel like it was canon with the first two Singer films. But anyway, that's a different video. This video, I want to talk about this First Class prequel, reboot, whatever you want to call it. So when Singer left, I was worried, and still am worried, to be honest, and disappointed. But then they brought in Matthew Vaughn as the director, who did Kick-Ass, and Kick-Ass was an amazing comic, an amazing film. So if you have to replace Bryan Singer, Matthew Vaughn is a great choice. He's a great guy for the job. I'm still hoping for the best, but I trust Matthew Vaughn. Do I trust him as much as I would Christopher Nolan? Absolutely not. I think Christopher Nolan is the godfather of the comic book movie genre in a way that Matthew Vaughn simply cannot be yet. But I still am hopeful because they've chosen a good guy to go with it. Specifically with the film, they've started revealing more information about what it's going to be about. So they'll have the early days of Professor X and Magneto, which I thought should have been addressed more clearly in X-Men 1, but I understand them wanting to keep that mystique alive and just introduce the modern day problem of mutant kind and humans. I understand that. And it was a great film. The first X-Men was brilliant. And the second one picked up the action. It was also great. Third one fell off the cliff. But again, that's another video. So they're going to be talking about Professor X and Magneto's early years, and I think that's a great story to tell. What I'm worried about is the same thing that happened in X-Men 3. They're going to be juggling too much. And this is why I'm a firm believer that there should be an X-Men TV show in the style of Smallville. Huge budget, very serious, weekly show like Smallville, and I think that is a great idea. Probably will never happen though, but it's a great idea for a few reasons. One, it allows way more time for character development and gives more time to address stories and just give light to all these characters in ways that the movies simply cannot do, no matter how good they are, because you have so many classic characters to introduce and to please all these fans. You just can't do it with a movie. I honestly believe you will never have an X-Men film that will please everybody, because there are so many characters that everybody loves, and some people are huge fans of one character that may not be in it that much, and that really ticks off the fans. Anyway, I'm a firm believer in that show idea, but it's just fan fiction. It's just wishful thinking. It'll never happen. But anyway, back to this movie. The cast that they've assembled, I'm not really familiar with too many of these names, but Kevin Bacon cast, that threw me off. I was really surprised and wondering what the heck he was going to do, but now we know that the villains are going to be the Hellfire Club, and I got to give it to him. That's definitely out of left field, and a new type of villain besides just Magneto, which I think they need to bring in a new villain. I probably would have thought of somebody more along the lines of Mr. Sinister or the Shadow King, since we're dealing with the early days of Professor X. But the Hellfire Club, I think, is a great choice for the antagonist of this film, because it's a evil group of villains. There's a lot of different ways you can take that, because there are different interpretations of that. But I think it has promise. But, of course, that's assuming that they're written well, which I hope they are. The big controversy is Jean Grey and Scott Summers not being in X-Men First Class. And this was a video that Shades at Night did, and I gotta completely agree with him. If you haven't seen his videos, he gives great opinions, and you should definitely see some of his blogs where he gives his opinions on things, and I agree with most of what he says. But yeah, if we're going to be dealing with an early X-Men film, I would want to have the original 5, but, you know, we're dealing with a prequel to the continuity of the 3 movies, so I understand not being able to do the original 5, because the 3 movies created their own canon, but you should still be able to have Cyclops. Maybe not Jean Grey, because that canon was kind of altered in the 3rd movie and exactly when they met her, but you should have Scott Summers. You should have Cyclops. He is the original guy. He is Charles Xavier's adopted son in my eyes. He's such a huge, important character to the X-Men story. In any interpretation you find, he's a huge character. So him not being in this movie at all throws me for a huge loop, and I'm really disappointed by that. I was really hoping that he would finally get some due screen time, because he's been snubbed out of every X-Men film, and they've shown time and time again this is a character that they're just not interested in, and I think that's really a shame, because he's such an interesting character and there are different things you can address with him. But I understand on the other side, too, that some people say, well, he just shoots things out of his eyes and not much more else to him. And I understand that argument, but you also have to understand that he is an action guy. He's a leader. He's not... Best way I can describe it is the way he was portrayed in the animated series, where he was so gung-ho and all about business and being a leader that he sometimes got ahead of himself and forgot to kind of look back at what was in front of him and see exactly how he was affecting people. Kind of like Leonardo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but that's the type of Cyclops I want to see. I want to see that conflict of him wanting to impress his mentor, Xavier, wanting to be the good leader, but not wanting to be the jerk. I think that's an interesting balance that could have really been explored in First Class, but probably won't be now. But again, it's not 100% confirmed yet, but it's looking more and more like it's a done deal that he won't be in this movie, so I'm really disappointed. And it doesn't make sense when you really look at the other characters that are going to be in the film. You have Emma Frost, who's his strong love interest, aside from Jean Grey. You have Havoc, which is his brother. I am disappointed that there aren't going to be some characters that I would have liked to see younger, like Nightcrawler. They're not having Nightcrawler, but they're having a young Mystique, and they're having a young Azazel, who's Nightcrawler's father, but they're not having Nightcrawler. And they're having Emma Frost, and they're having Havoc, but they're not having Cyclops. It's like, it's a tease. I want to see the character who these other characters are linked to. I want to see the main attraction. Don't give me a great meal and then not give me dessert. I want the whole thing. I want everything I paid for. So you take what you get, but the two most interesting choices that they have for the this movie that I really like are James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as Xavier and Magneto. I think those are great choices, and those are some damn tough shoes to fill. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, two of the most established veteran actors in Hollywood, and you got to fill in for their characters. That's not easy, but I think that they chose wisely, and I can't wait to see their performances. I think they're going to be great, and I'm sure the rest will be great too, but when those two names were announced, I was very relieved, because those two characters, had they been miscast, and I don't believe they have, but had they been miscast, this whole film would have fallen over. If you don't have solid actors for Magneto and Xavier, you don't have an X-Men film. Those are two characters you cannot have without in an X-Men film. It just won't be the same. But we have some other interesting characters in this new movie, and I don't know. I'm interested to see how it does. I don't think it will be a horrible movie by any means. Not a movie that'll be an embarrassment, but I don't think it'll be a classic either. On the bright side, it does look like it's something new and something fresh, so there is that to look forward to. It's basically however you want to interpret it. I am still hopeful, but I am also lowering my standards because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be let down in some ways, but I'll also be entertained. So let's just keep hoping. Anyways, if there's anything else you want me to talk about, or any of your opinions that you want to share, post them in the comments. I'm always read them, and I'm happy to. And on a personal note to Shades at Night, I think your opinion is well thought out on the X-Men series, and I really respect your views. And just a good YouTuber, good guy. And I'm Silver Lightsaber. Bye, guys.